What is up, guys? Welcome here to Rooster Coop. I am your host, Rooster. I actually had this episode pre-recorded, and I did it all on Wednesday, actually Thursday, sometime earlier last week. But I mean, there was so much shit that happened this past weekend where I just had to redo the whole episode. Right now, it's 12:40 p.m. on Tuesday, which means this episode should be up in the next hour or so after I get done with recording and editing. Um, so I talked about Spotify Wrap, the pre-recorded thing, and that I have my Spotify Wrapped. I got actually got to pull that back up because Spotify decided to do it for the 2024. And my Spotify Wrapped, if you know me, it's kind of fitting of what it is. My top five. I'm gonna go. Here's my Spotify Wrap. I'm gonna tell you my top five songs and artists. My top five songs, and number five is We Go, and number four is We Go. It's the One Piece. One Piece, the post time skip theme song. Number three, Apocalypse by Cigarettes After Sex. Number two, Don Quixote do Flamingo's theme song. And number one, Jungle Pig. Literally four One Piece songs, and two of them the same ones. That's just the way it is. And then my top five artists: David Robideau, Tom Hedden, one and two, Kanye West, number three, Boyz II Men, number four, and Kato, number five. Hedden and Robideau, they both do NFL films. Kanye, we obviously know what Kanye does. I listen to a lot of his old music because that's just I listen to Graduation a lot, and that's just the vibe I get, especially in our football season. That's kind of my favorite thing to listen to. Boys to Men, they always have some bangers. They've been on my top five all time for my Spotify Wrapped almost every year. And Kato, he's a lo-fi kind of guy. Makes a lot of lo-fi music that I listen to on Spotify. 62,510 minutes listened to, and that's pretty much the Spotify Wraps. This episode is gonna be my college years. So before I even talk about my college years, let me just discuss about what happened this past weekend. It kind of just irritates me a little bit. So it all starts off Friday, and I'm driving down to Virginia. I'm refing a tournament, and hit a bump in Maryland. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. Whatever. Didn't think anything of it, just kept driving. And I just see a flash. Like it was just quick, like really quick. I'm like, okay, what the hell is that? Doom, another flash. Okay, weird. And I'm just driving. I'm like, oh, my battery. I just see the battery. I'm like, okay, that's that. Why is my battery light coming on? That just okay, cool. It's weird. Still driving down. About an hour later, solid battery. Okay, that's not a good sign. Still driving down, still about an hour 40 from the hotel. 40 minutes later, cool. More lights come on. Okay. I'm like 10 minutes in the hotel. All the lights on the dashboard just light up. I'm like, okay, that's strange. 5 minutes later, 5 minutes from the hotel, the music shuts off. I can't steer. And I'm like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. I thought it was just a battery. I thought it was just a battery issue. I thought wrong, clearly. Turns out it was the alternator. And I got it towed in Saturday morning at 10 a.m. They gave me a call about just trying to figure out everything that was going on. And they said, "Hey, we'll try our best to get it on the road. We'll try our best to get it out for you by 5 p.m. by the time we close." Appreciate that. Cool. As the hours go on, and I'm just sitting there just like happy, like, all right, cool. It's gonna get done. It's gonna get done. Just still nervous, but it's gonna get done. And all of a sudden, I get a call at 4:45. Mr. We're not able to get the car done. We're gonna try again. We're gonna try our best to get it out by Monday. Monday? I gotta be home tonight. I'm sorry, sir. We're not. We just can't do it. And we're closed tomorrow, so man, it was heartbreaking. I didn't know I was gonna stay, so um, my boss sent me out the hotel. He found me a hotel. I was able to stay there for 2 days extended. And it kind of just it was just a crazy time, man. Just man, 12,000, no, 1,200 for an alternator. That sucks. And then on top of that too, all the work. I gotta get new tires on it too. It's just like, dog, what the hell? Plus the gas I put on it, man, it sucked. It was just sucked. And then there's other personal things that I'm not going to discuss, but you know, it just made me decide, hey, at this point, my future, and I'm thinking about my future a little bit longer. So it's that's kind of those personal things where it kind of made me think, okay, where am I going to go where it's going to be the best for me? So that's pretty much what happened this weekend. Oh, also the Steelers, they took care of business. They had the redemption tour and they beat the Browns. Hey, on Philly now. But if this by the time this next episode gets recorded, I'll either be the happiest human being on earth or we're you know 10-4, who knows. But hey, we're on the Philly. That's all I gotta say. We're on the Philly. Anyway, here are the college years. So it all started off in August of 2019, where I took a drive up to Montclair State University, moved in, and started off my football career at Montclair State. Started off as a wide receiver, and just loved to compete. I was always eager to just try to compete the best way before we moved in, before the camp season even started. I remember texting the group chat for all the receivers saying, "Hey, my name is Rooster, and I'm going to be the hardest working receiver we have." And everybody started laughing at that because like, what does this hot shot freshman think he's going to do? And I kind of just like, all right, that's fine, whatever. You're a hot shot freshman, maybe, but I really believe that I was going to be the hardest working guy on the team. And I think after 5 years, I was that hardworking guy that everyone really looked up to, and it was just awesome to see that sort of respect that my teammates had for me when I was able to finish up my career. They saw the amount of work I put in, and it kind of just inspired me and just gave me a big sense of achievement that hey, I fulfilled my goal of being the hardest working guy, and I felt as though I hit my peak of athleticism at that point. But no, we're not going to just dwell on that. Um, I'm just gonna, just this part right here. I'm going to talk about just my 5 years of football at Montclair. Year one really didn't play much. I was a scout team guy. I really just loved the idea of just competing and helping the team out at any way I can. But I was took every scout team rep I wanted. Um, everyone wanted to go play receiver. No, I was the biggest receiver, so I just kind of just put my hand in the dirt, play tight end. We had another tight end as well, but it was just me and him playing the scout team tight end, especially teams that had two tight end sets. I'll be the other tight end and just go from there. Really didn't care about it. Just wanted to do whatever I could to help the team at the end of the day. I've always been a team guy, and that's kind of my motivation, my goals. Just help the team win, help the team be as successful as possible. So I kind of looked at that and just didn't care about anything. I mean, I would just get hit every single day of practice, but as long as the team was prepared to win, that's when I knew I did my job. So that was basically my whole freshman year. I was a scout team guy. We went 6-4 that year, and just enjoyed it. Kind of got an idea. Okay, this is what college football is going to be about. I'm excited for next year. But before next year even happened, I was competing in track and field. This time I was a collegiate hurdler. I was a hot shot freshman, pretty much trash talking the upperclassmen, like, "Oh, you guys are slow. Like, this time is terrible. This time is terrible." No, I had no right. I didn't really earn my stripes yet. And before the season started, a lot of the upperclassmen did not like me. Did not like my cocky attitude, my brash, my arrogance. They didn't really like it, and I don't blame them for not liking it because it was just, who the hell am I? Some guy who just decided really wasn't really recruited to be a track and field guy who just decided to open up their mouth and just talk all the trash in the world. I mean, it's fair why I wasn't a really liked person, why I wasn't a really popular teammate amongst the track and field team. And they kind of gave me a shot. As the weeks went on, they were like, all right, you know what? He's just a freshman. Whatever. We're still gonna let him grow. Still gonna let him do what he can do. And my first practice, we were doing 150s, and I strained my hamstring. I pulled it, and came around the curve, and it just felt like someone took a bat to the back of my leg, and I just dropped. And the upperclassmen had sympathy for for somebody who was trash talking and saying that I'm faster than you, I could beat you in a race. It was it kind of showed me, okay, they really care for me. You know, I got to learn how to be humble. I got to learn humility, and I got to learn it fast, or else I'm going to lose this team. And I just got here. I don't want to be that guy. And I learned really quickly, this is what it's all about. You got to the team aspect of it. It's nice of to know that you have teammates that cared for you. So that whole, missed the first meet of the season, which was before winter break, and then just I got healthier over winter break. Took a few light jogs, and then I went to my high school and decided to just practice hurdling, just get in the flow of things. So by the time when I moved back in for the spring semester, spring 2020, we had our first track meet a week after we moved in, and I felt pretty confident. Kind of little nervous about the whole idea that I could get hurt again. That was in the back of my head, but I knew if I just took care of my body the best I could, I'll be okay. And that first race I had, I ran an 8:48. When you hear that time, it's not exactly the fastest time, but when you're a freshman running a 60 for the first time in his entire life, 60-meter hurdle is the first time in his entire life, and when you then are entering into the top 15 all time in the school record, and on top of that too, you already qualify for regionals with the time of 8.7 in the 60-meter hurdles in your first ever race, not even like you got to chase for it. You get a lot of confidence, and not only from confidence in yourself, but you get a confidence from your team. And I think my teammates at that point, they're like, okay, this kid could be special. So throughout the rest of the season, I couldn't crack. I just kept running 8:48, just kept running 8:48, and then the conference championship, the hamstring started. I tweaked my hamstring a little bit, and some things happen. Um, then there's other things that occurred. That's really just the athletic part. I met this group of friends that they would make an impact on my entire college lives. They're really the two rings of my lifetime group chat. Met these guys one day in the fall semester. I hate to backtrack on this one, but this is kind of important here. It was one day during the fall semester. I heard a loud bang upstairs. I walk upstairs. I'm like, what's that noise? And it was a few of my friends that were friends now, and I'm like, you guys, I'm like, everything okay? Just hear banging. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, no issues. I hear laughing down the hallway, and I'm like, okay, wow, what's going on here? And I just see the two rings in my lifetime group chat just have a moving bed, and they're just pushing the bed back and forth. And I'm like, all right, these are the kind of guys I want to hang out with, and you know. We're pushing the bend back and forth, and I take it a little too far, a little extreme, and I just let go of the bend way too late, and I knock down Bones, and all of a sudden we just take it, just sprint out of there. But because of that, that's when I knew, okay, these guys right here, these are going to be some good friends of mine for the next 4 years, and it was pretty cool to be able to have that experience with those guys, and on top of that too, it was just awesome. I think the biggest thing for me was really, um, it can't really affect me negatively. I just got to do what I got to do. But there was someone in the group who really didn't like me at the time. He thought I was arrogant. He thought I was brash. I mean, kind of not wrong. I kind of felt that. I think I was. I didn't think I didn't seem like I was, but. He just didn't. He just thought I was a shady, suspicious character, really. And um, I kind of just didn't give off the best vibes in the world. And he and I got into a fight over a chair because I was doing homework and I went downstairs to go get my hoodie. Came back upstairs. He was sitting in the chair, and I was like, I gotta do my homework. And we got into a pretty heated discussion. And at that point, it was all hell broke loose. But the funniest part about all that was we were fighting over a chair for home so I could do homework. maybe like an hour later after the whole thing escalated, I dropped the class anyway. So it was just essentially for nothing. And I ran into him a few days later. I went to apologize for, my behavior, my actions, and I kind of just went from there. And we became friends from that point on. Because the reason why I say that is because those guys really were the support system I needed the rest of my freshman year. If I had a bad day of practice for track or football, I would always go to those guys and just really just connect and just everything just seemed a lot better. So when we're going back to regionals in the indoor season. This is March of 2020, right before the pandemic really became a pandemic, before it was labeled as a pandemic really. And we have our regional tournament, our regional tour. We had our regional meet, and you know, I go in thinking, I was kind of nervous. Didn't have a great showing at the conference championship, but I felt as though if I was able to put in enough work here, I could do some damage in the regional. I could do enough damage. I get a regional champion. That was kind of my mindset to be a regional champion as a freshman, as a true freshman at that too. So my whole idea was to, hey, let's just get after it, and I got after it day one. The prelims, I got third. I was in third place going into the final. And the next day I ran like dog shit. Like I was not prepared. I was immature. I was cocky, and I kind of just said, "Listen, I could beat anybody here." And I acted like a fool the night before, and just really just wasn't in the right mindset. Wasn't ready. Just like I said, I was immature. I wasn't ready to compete. And that kind of was the whole mantra for my entire track and field career. I was good, but I wasn't ready to compete at all times. I think the only time I was ever locked in was the very next year in outdoor, but it wasn't even all that. It was just me knowing that, hey, this is important. But that's kind of the theme that happened with track and field throughout college. I was ready. I had this mindset that I wanted to do more, but I wasn't. I didn't. I just didn't care enough. And I mean, it wasn't even that I didn't care. It was just a matter of, hey, I got other things going on in life. I got work I got to do. I got this going on. I got that going on. I wasn't all in track, and that's kind of my biggest regret from college, from the collegiate track level. I wasn't all in, and I think had I been all in for track, I love my teammates, I love being part of the program, and I love working at it, but I wasn't all in, and I think had I been all in, a lot of things would have changed for me personally, and who knows, I probably would have set the school record, I believe so at Montclair, but I wasn't all in. I never was. And on top of that too, like I really just was just doing so many different things that I really couldn't be all in. And it's kind of my biggest regret from my college years. I wish that I was more all in with track like I was all in with football. Now we get back to football. You know, the obviously during the 2020 season, we really couldn't do anything. We get the announcement that we're not able to participate in the 2020 fall season because the pandemic. A week after my mother passed away, and it was just like that whole week. It was just tough for me emotionally, and then hearing that I'm losing my football season, it was just very difficult, a very difficult time for me. But I moved in I moved in August, got my license at this point, and was just kind of looked at that like, all right, this is a new start for me. Let's just handle business. And I met a lot of friends that semester, but not really not anyone too new. But it turned out that would have been that was the first time I would interact with a lot of people who I would eventually graduate with. So it was kind of cool. And then nothing of note really happened. I had a false positive before Thanksgiving that year, so I lost Thanksgiving. Then when I got home, I tested negative for COVID, and it was just kind of that was the whole spiel. But you know, the friend group that I had with the guys that were on the Two Rings of My Lifetime group chat. Some of us lived in one building, another few of us lived in another building. It was really between those two buildings, and then guys that would commute. We're all still close, and that was kind of the beauty of it. Like we all were within walking distance of each other, so it wasn't the end of the world. So it was always a good time. And then that spring semester, spring 2021, um, I joined the school radio station, and I just absolutely loved it. I was part of the school radio station, which I'll talk about another time. Joined the radio station, was a sportscaster, kind of got involved with that, and that kind of was my identity for the next 3 years in college as the sports guy at the radio station, which it was cool. It was a cool little gig, but I'll get in more all that detail at a later point. Then it's 20 spring 2021. Like it's tracks, the track season's here. Let's go. It's go 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 mode. Let's go. We gotta rock. And it was a cool little time, cool little experience and all. And I just had fun with that. Um, I felt like that was the year I was ready to go. I was the lightest I've been in a while. I felt faster than ever, and I just felt confident. Then we also had football that same semester, so it was a lot on the body, but I took enough rest on my body to the point I was prepared, and I was good to go. Then we get into the summer, and the thing about that summer was that was the year I decided, hey, I'm gonna move up north full time, and I moved up north full time, lived on campus, and it was the same roommates, the Two Rings of My Lifetime group chat. And at this point, we didn't we're still a big group. So the thing about big groups in college, there was 16 of us freshman year. And if you know anything about that, they don't last forever. That's just kind of the way it is. That's the nature of the beast. And it was like, okay, it's not the end of the world. Like our friend group is still strong to this day. It's not as strong as it was freshman year, but we still reach out, we still talk to one another. There's no beef amongst the friend group, but it's like when you're in that friend group, that sort of friend group, it just kind of it's gonna section off a little bit, and that's junior year is kind of the year it started sectioning off. We had you know all the business guys, they stuck together. Um, Really the exercise science guys that stuck together. It wasn't that as you get older, you just kind of grow apart from each other. And we tried our hardest to try to maintain that friend group. And it wasn't the end of the world. Like like I said, we're still cool with each other. But it was just like, we all had different avenues in life, and we all had different paths. So we kind of just said, all right, well, that's this. We're still boys, but obviously we all have, that's just the way life is. We're all in different directions. And we'll all still talk, but we're not gonna see, it's not gonna be the same way as it was freshman year, which that's okay. That's just life for you. That's just the way it is. But it was just a few of us that we lived together. Others lived together with one another, across the hall from each other. We're in Hawks Crossings, others are in the Heights, others are in Hawks. It's just like we're all over the place now. We're not as distance wise like it was freshman or sophomore year, but hey, we're still on campus. We're still living together. We got some guys that live off campus. They're about 5 miles, not even 5 miles, maybe like I don't know, like 3.5, 4 miles away from campus. So we all could just drive there. Actually, that's why we watched the Super Bowl with one another. We were watching the Super Bowl there that year. It was the Rams and the Bengals. So it was a cool time. Like that's when I knew, we're still good friends. So it was a cool little time, cool little experience with that. Um, that football season for us, well, honestly, I will say this. Fall 2021 is my favorite semester ever because I got more involved with the radio station. Um, Football was a good time. The friend groups I made, it was awesome. And then on top of that too, I fell in love. So it was a good time for me. But hey, things happen. So we just move on from that. Um, Not gonna really discuss anything further about that, but But this the year where I was like, all right, this is now we're more locked in with radio station stuff. And then the very next semester, I get promoted to become the assistant sports director at the radio station, and I kind of just like had this vision, this idea where I just looked. I knew people who were in my class, and I just kind of just brought them along with me, and said, all right, if I want to get this thing done, get this thing going in the right direction, I need your help. I need your help. I need your help. Help me out. Let's recruit. And we did that, and it was just a really that was kind of just took over that entire semester. Um, but also in that same semester, I kind of started losing love for broadcasting. I came into college to be a broadcast major. I wanted to be a broadcaster my entire college career. That's kind of the reason why I joined the radio station in the first place, and I kind of lost that love for it. I kind of just sat there and just thought about everything. You know, one of the guys who I looked up to, um, he's working at ESPN now, so like he's had a pretty good postgraduate career. But like one of the guys I looked up to, he's done all this work and he's not even getting looks like that. And that's the guy who's above me at the radio station. Like I see all that, I'm like, man, I don't stand a chance. So what I decided to do was after that spring 2022 semester, I decided, hey, now is the time. I gotta make the decision. So I switched my major to physical education, and it was a hell of a transition to go from sports communications to physical education. Like I went from undeclared to television, digital media, or the concentration in sports media to sports communication because it was very specific to what I wanted to do. To we're here to physical education. How the hell we get here? I look at that because I looked at that for one reason and one reason only. The only reason why I did is because COVID. Why do I say that? So, me being a student athlete at this time, I knew that I had extra eligibility. I knew I had extra eligibility. And I just said, hell yeah, I'm taking it. Might as well take it. So, I made that switch knowing that because I was selfish in my wanting to use my extra eligibility for football and track. And I was like, all right, that's perfect for me. Like, I might as well, no, might as well take advantage of it. Cool, right? Well, yeah, it was cool, but it kind of just like put me back essentially a semester behind with at first put me back a semester. I was already behind anyway. I was a semester behind anyway. So that summer after my junior year, I was stressing to just try to catch up with my classes, and I kind of just said, you know what, that's just nah. We'll just graduate after a semester later. Like it's fine, whatever. And it kind of just like that thought right there. I said, you know what? No, I don't feel like stressing myself out. So I switched my major, and that's kind of how I got to this boat. But I really did it for the idea to be a student athlete for an extra year instead of being forced to walk away. Which whatever. That's just the selfish nature in me. At the same time, though, that fall semester, a funny thing happened in football. I moved to tight end, and I put on a little bit of weight. So when track and field started, me being a different position playing, me being in a different position in the fall than I was years prior, and now trying to do the same event as a hurdler, you know, it just doesn't work out well, and it caused for this whole spring 2022 season. I had a lot of issues with my hamstrings, and I was still a dominant. I wasn't say a dominant hurdler. I was still doing things as a hurdler. I was just big as hell. Like the guys I'll go up against, they're like 160 at most. And here I am walking into track meets weighing 215. So I'm already at a 55-pound disadvantage. So it's like, all right, what the hell? And I'm going essentially step for step for them for the first few, and then all of a sudden, that's when the extra weight kind of just doesn't help me out, and I just get passed by. And it became a point of frustration for my coach because he's like, you're not all in, you're not locked in, you don't really care for this. And we had a few blows, and it kind of just like it wasn't it wasn't that I just had a lot going on. I was in charge of the radio station sports department essentially, and just tried to do what I could do to revive that as well as watch my diet. And on top of that, I'm living on my own, so I gotta I gotta work. So like I'm trying to do so much, trying to take care of myself and trying to better off my career. But it's just like I got so much going on. I really can't. It's just there's a lot for me. So he was understanding of that. But what happened was after that, he became a football coach. So it kind of just like seeing that aspect of it. He got to see what I he he and my coach he and the coach they were close anyway. So like it was one of those things where it kind of made sense. And he was a football guy himself, so he knew a thing or two about football. And I felt as though that he's seeing me in my element, he gets a better appreciation for what I could do for the track and field program. And I saw it as a win-win. And I pushed myself every day at football practice, and then I tore my hamstring. Now I'm the sports director. I have a torn hamstring, and on top of that, I'm doing a lot of refereeing stuff. And I'm preparing I get a phone call. Hey, you're going to Vegas to be at the national tournament. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. But I have a torn hamstring, and just like I was heartbroken. So I rehabbed all I could, trying to prepare myself for the indoor season. Really couldn't do anything. I was still out of it. Oh yeah, and about the football thing, yeah, I was playing defensive end. So I went from playing receiver to tight end to playing defensive end. And you know, I came into college at 185. I left college at 270. So hey, that's a little bit much. So when you're running track and you're running the hurdles at 235, when you're already big as is anyway, you're on the hurdle at 235, and it's just like, dog, there's no, you're really it's basically at this point you're just not you're just gonna get hurt. You're just gonna hurt yourself. And that's kind of what happened. I tore my hamstring trying to get back into it, but then, to get ready for the indoor season, and it just had hamstring issues all season long because I was out of shape. They weren't strong enough for all that extra weight. It was just like I had issues all over, and it kind of just like it got to the point where my injuries just kept. It just kept being hurt so much, and it just kind of like it put me in a dark place. Put me in a really dark place, and I kind of just got emotional about it, and just decided to just, hey man, like this is I can't do this anymore. And after a little while, it dawned on me like, all right, listen, no, I gotta step away from track and field. My injuries are hindering me so much. It's affecting me in a daily aspect, but on top of that too, I could get cut from playing football in general. So like I gotta make a sacrifice. And I kind of just saw that as, hey, I gotta step away. Like I gotta step away from track. You know, when you're in the trainers every day for the same thing for the last 4 years, it kind of just like kind of makes you think, hey, gotta have a change. And on a personal level, I see my best friend and his fiance now his then girlfriend. I see my best friend Jack. He's graduating college, and just seeing what he went through was just like, all right, no, I gotta, he supported me throughout these 4 years. I gotta keep pushing. And he said to me that, hey, he saw my resilience, he saw my perseverance, and he kind of admired that aspect of it. But I was going through a lot of difficult stuff at that point. Tore my hamstring, um, on the verge of getting cut from the football team, um, had to step away from track and field. it was just so much going on in my life that semester. Oh yeah, also too, radio drama, and I just wasn't in a, I was just not in a good mood, a good person at that point. I this really just was, I try to be a positive person. I try to encourage a lot of people, but at that point in time, I really just wanted, really did not, really wasn't there. Um, so what I did was I had I I looked at my friends and just kind of try to encourage them as much as I could personally before I blew up. But I think if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been able to elevate myself and evolve myself. So there's the reason why I was able to, I switched back to sports communications that semester as well, the spring 23 semester. I was able to push myself even further then and allow myself to just really grow. It just gave me that whole motivation. Hey, they encouraged me for so long, and here they are. All after all these years, they're encouraging me. I see Jack and Rose, they graduate from college. So I looked at that, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna do that myself. And I played my last ever season of college football that fall 2023 semester, and it was just an emotional time for me because let's show out hoorah. It was seeing how the program went from in the 5 years I was there, 6-4 conference champs in the shortened COVID season to 3-7 to 2-8, and then we end up at 5-5. My end of my career, I kind of look at that like, wow, this is things are going the right direction, and I felt as though I left the program in the right foot, and you know I felt like, hey, this is what it's all about. We didn't win. I didn't really win any championships in either sport. Um, didn't really have much success as a team on either sport, but I was proud of the fact that I was able to give 5 years of football and then an abbreviated track and field career, which I was able to push out longer. But the injuries they were too much for me. Plus the mental state of myself. It was a dark place for me, but the encouragement I got from not only my friends, my family, um, my teammates, even my coaches, they were all there full support of me. They really wanted to see me succeed, and they motivated me. They said, "Hey, you're so close to getting your degree. Just finish it off. Just get your degree. Finish strong. Get your degree." And I got my degree that May, and it was just an awesome experience getting that degree. I gotta thank everybody who helped me out along the way, who helped me become the person I am. My teammates, my friends, my family, my coaching staffs. They all encouraged me, and they made me the best version of me I can be. And it's just been incredible. So I thank you guys so much for everything you've done, and it just means the world to me. So thank you guys. Catch you guys next time.